The vast chamber of the Galactic Council fell silent as Admiral James Walker stepped forward. His weathered face and steady gaze commanded attention, even among the diverse array of alien representatives gathered there. The Council had summoned him to explain humanity's actions during the recent border war with the Crimson Empire, but they weren't prepared for what they would learn. "You ask why we fought as we did," Walker began, his voice echoing through the chamber. "To understand that, you need to know our history." The alien delegates shifted uncomfortably. They had expected excuses or apologies for humanity's brutal efficiency in warfare. Instead, they were about to receive a lesson that would change their perspective forever. 3 standard galactic years earlier, humanity had been the newest addition to the Galactic Council. Earth had just achieved faster-than-light travel, and the galaxy had welcomed them with cautious optimism. Most species saw humans as primitive but harmless. Their technology was centuries behind the galactic standard, and their military capabilities seemed laughable compared to the major powers. The Crimson Empire had seen this as an opportunity. They were an ancient civilization, proud and expansionist, who believed in their inherent right to rule. When they discovered rich mineral deposits in human colonial territories, they expected a quick annexation. After all, humans were just another young species that would bow to superior force. They launched their attack without warning, striking 3 human colony worlds simultaneously. The Empire's massive warships emerged from hyperspace, their energy weapons already charging. They expected immediate surrender. What they got instead was humanity's first lesson in galactic warfare. The colonial defense forces, vastly outgunned, didn't retreat. Instead, they executed what would later be known as Protocol Zero, a defense strategy that made the Empire's superior technology work against them. Small, agile human ships darted between the Empire's massive cruisers, forcing them to hold fire to avoid hitting their own vessels. When the Empire's commanders adjusted their targeting parameters, the humans switched tactics. Mining ships, converted into improvised weapons, rammed into the Empire's shields at near-light speed. The kinetic energy overwhelmed even their advanced defensive systems. Civilian cargo vessels, loaded with industrial explosives, turned themselves into missiles. The humans fought with a desperation and creativity that shocked their enemies. But it was what happened on the ground that truly terrified the Empire. Their troops, wearing armor that could shrug off energy weapons, found themselves facing human soldiers who adapted with terrifying speed. When energy rifles proved ineffective, the humans switched to primitive ballistic weapons, simple lead bullets that tore through the Empire's energy-dispersing armor like paper. The Empire's commanders had expected a civilized war according to galactic conventions. Instead, they found themselves facing an enemy that turned everything into a weapon. Industrial mining equipment became mobile artillery. Agricultural machinery was converted into armored vehicles. Even the colony's weather control systems were weaponized, creating artificial storms that grounded the Empire's aerial forces. What the Empire didn't understand, what none of the Galactic Council understood, was that humanity had spent its entire history fighting itself. While other species evolved through cooperation and peaceful competition, humans had forged their civilization in endless conflict. Every human soldier carried within them the accumulated combat experience of thousands of years of warfare. The first day of the war cost the Empire 3 capital ships and over 10,000 troops. By the end of the first week, they had lost control of all 3 invasion zones. Their commanders, trained in the elegant art of galactic warfare, found themselves facing an enemy that didn't fight by any rules they understood. As Admiral Walker concluded this part of his story, he noted the horror on the faces of the council members. They had all read the reports, but hearing it directly from a human commander made it real. And this was just the beginning. The true terror of human warfare was yet to come. The Admiral took a deep breath, ready to continue with the next phase of the war. The council members leaned forward, both dreading and needing to hear what came next. They needed to understand why humanity had earned its reputation as the most terrifying species to face in combat, and why the galaxy now walked carefully around the seemingly primitive humans from Earth. Admiral Walker paused, taking a sip of water before continuing his testimony to the Galactic Council. The chamber remained deathly quiet, every alien representative processing the implications of humanity's initial defense against the Crimson Empire. What happened next, Walker continued, proved that humanity's response wasn't just luck or desperate improvisation. It was our natural state of warfare. The Crimson Empire, humiliated by their initial defeats, had returned with their full military might. Their fleet numbered thousands of ships, carrying millions of troops. By all conventional military calculations, humanity should have been overwhelmed. The Empire's technology was centuries ahead, their numbers vastly superior. But they made one crucial mistake: they gave humanity time to prepare. In the 3 months between the first attack and the Empire's return, humans had been busy. Every colony world had been transformed into a fortress. Civilian factories switched to military production with stunning efficiency. The Empire's commanders were shocked to discover that humans had already reversed-engineered captured technology from the first battle. "You see," Walker explained, gesturing to the holographic display showing the Empire's invasion fleet, "most species develop technology gradually, building upon each generation's work. Humans? We leap forward in times of war. Necessity isn't just the mother of invention for us, it's a demanding commander." The Empire's second invasion began with an overwhelming show of force. Their fleet emerged from hyperspace in perfect formation, their energy weapons immediately targeting key military installations. But the humans had learned from the first battle. They had developed countermeasures. Automated drones, cheap and expendable, swarmed the Empire's ships by the thousands. Each carried a small nuclear device, primitive by galactic standards, but devastating when detonated inside a ship's energy shields. The Empire's elegant defenses, designed to stop energy weapons and kinetic impacts, proved useless against this crude but effective tactic. On the ground, human forces demonstrated why their species had survived countless wars on Earth. They fought from underground bunkers, using the terrain they had carefully prepared. When the Empire deployed their advanced combat robots, humans responded with electromagnetic pulse weapons. When the Empire used orbital bombardment, humans fought from mobile bases that never stayed in one place long enough to target. But what truly terrified the Empire was humanity's psychological warfare. Humans understood something fundamental about war that many advanced species had forgotten: war isn't just about destroying the enemy's ability to fight, it's about breaking their will to fight. Human hackers infiltrated the Empire's communication networks, spreading fear and confusion. They broadcast footage of their victories, showing Imperial troops how their advanced weapons failed against human ingenuity. They studied the Empire's species' psychological weaknesses and exploited them mercilessly. "We didn't just fight their bodies," Walker explained, his voice growing somber. "We fought their minds." While they saw war as a mathematical equation of force and counterforce, we remembered its true nature, a contest of will and determination. The council chamber grew tenser as Walker described how human forces had begun targeting the Empire's supply lines rather than their military assets. Humans understood that armies march on their stomachs, regardless of species. They disrupted food supplies, sabotaged fuel production, and destroyed maintenance facilities. The Empire's mighty war machine began to sputter and stall. "The Empire expected us to fight for territory," Walker continued. "Instead, we fought for their morale. Every victory of ours wasn't just a military success, it was a psychological blow. We didn't just defeat their ships and soldiers, we defeated their confidence." As Walker paused again, several council members shifted uncomfortably in their seats. They were beginning to understand why humanity had earned its fearsome reputation. It wasn't just their capacity for violence, it was their deep, instinctive understanding of warfare in all its forms. The Admiral's eyes swept across the chamber, noting the mix of fear and fascination on alien faces. They had yet to hear about the war's turning point, when humanity demonstrated why they were truly the most dangerous species in known space. That revelation would come next, and it would change galactic politics forever. Admiral Walker's expression darkened as he reached the next phase of his narrative. The holographic display in the council chamber shifted, showing a distant star system near the edge of human space. "What I'm about to tell you," he said, his voice heavy with meaning, "is why the Empire ultimately sued for peace. It's also why many of you now view humanity as a potential threat to galactic stability." The system displayed was HD 783, a seemingly unremarkable colony with a population of just under 1 million humans. The Empire had chosen it as their next target, believing its isolation made it vulnerable. They were about to learn humanity's most terrifying lesson yet. The Empire attacked HD 783 with their largest fleet yet, Walker continued. They thought they had learned from their previous failures. Their ships emerged from hyperspace at extreme range, beyond the reach of our defensive swarms. They planned a methodical, systematic conquest. What they didn't know was that HD 783 was where humanity had been preparing its counteroffensive. The colony's apparent vulnerability was a carefully crafted illusion. Deep beneath the surface, in vast underground facilities, humans had been working on something that would change the nature of galactic warfare. "We called it Project Mirror," Walker revealed, causing several council members to flinch at the name they'd heard whispered in intelligence reports. The Empire prided themselves on their superior technology. We decided to use that pride against them. Project Mirror was humanity's answer to the technological gap between species. Using captured Empire technology and human ingenuity, scientists had developed a system that could analyze enemy weapons in real time and quickly engineer countermeasures. But that wasn't what made it revolutionary. The true power of Mirror, Walker explained, was its ability to turn an enemy's weapons against them. Every shot they fired taught us more about their technology. Every attack made us stronger. The battle for HD 783 began conventionally enough. The Empire's fleet launched their standard opening barrage, expecting to overwhelm the colony's defenses from a safe distance. Instead, their energy weapons suddenly found themselves countered by exactly matching frequencies. Their shields faced precisely calibrated attacks that exploited their specific vulnerabilities. Within the first hour of battle, Walker continued, we had analyzed and adapted to most of their primary weapon systems. Within 3 hours, we were using modified versions of their own technology against them. By the end of the first day, we had improved upon their designs. The council chamber erupted in murmurs. This was what truly terrified them about humanity, not just their ability to fight, but their ability to learn and adapt at an unprecedented rate. While other species took generations to develop new technology, humans did it in the heat of battle. But the true horror of Project Mirror was yet to be revealed. As the Empire's fleet pressed their attack, they discovered that their most advanced weapons were being reflected back at them, literally. Human ships now carried devices that could capture enemy energy weapons and redirect them with devastating accuracy. We didn't just copy their technology, Walker stated, his voice firm. We understood it. Improved it. Weaponized it in ways they had never imagined. The Empire had spent centuries developing their weapons. We mastered them in days. The Battle of HD 783 became a turning point in the war. The Empire's mighty fleet found itself fighting an enemy that grew stronger with every attack. Their technological advantage, maintained for centuries, evaporated in a matter of days. But the most important lesson, Walker added, his eyes scanning the council chamber, wasn't about the technology itself. It was about humanity's fundamental approach to warfare. We don't just fight wars, we learn from them. Adapt through them. Every conflict makes us stronger. The Admiral paused, letting the implications sink in. The Council members now understood why the Empire had retreated from HD 783 in panic. They had finally realized what they were truly fighting, a species that didn't just survive war, they evolved through it. The holographic display shifted again, ready to show the war's final phase. The Council members braced themselves, knowing that the most shocking revelations were yet to come. Admiral Walker activated a new holographic display, showing the vast territory of the Crimson Empire. Red markers indicated their major military installations, industrial centers, and command bases, all heavily fortified and defended by the most advanced technology in the galaxy. After HD 783, Walker continued, the Empire expected us to press our advantage with direct attacks. They fortified their core worlds, consolidated their fleets, and prepared for a prolonged war of attrition. But that's not how humans wage war. The hologram zoomed in on what appeared to be an ordinary civilian transport ship. Nothing about it seemed remarkable, exactly as intended. The Council members leaned forward, sensing they were about to learn another disturbing truth about human warfare. While the Empire focused on military targets, we had been infiltrating their civilian sectors for months, Walker revealed. Operation Ghost, we called it. Thousands of human operatives, disguised as refugees, merchants, and maintenance workers, had spread throughout their territory. The Council chamber grew tense. This was against all conventions of galactic warfare. Civilian sectors were supposed to be neutral, protected zones. But humans had recognized them as something else, they were the Empire's foundation. Every great military depends on its civilian infrastructure, Walker explained. Factories, power plants, transportation networks, communication systems. The Empire protected their military installations with shields and weapons. But their civilian infrastructure? That they left vulnerable. The seemingly ordinary transport ship in the hologram multiplied into thousands, each one carrying human infiltrators. They took jobs in shipyards, power plants, and maintenance facilities. They became part of the Empire's everyday operations. And they waited. We didn't need to defeat their military, Walker continued, his voice steady. We just needed to make it impossible for them to sustain their war effort. On a single coordinated signal, Operation Ghost was activated. Across thousands of worlds, human operatives struck simultaneously. Power grids failed. Communication networks went dark. Transportation systems ground to a halt. Manufacturing facilities unexpectedly shut down. No explosions, Walker noted. No massive battles. No military casualties. We simply turned things off. The Empire's mighty warships suddenly found themselves without fuel resupply. Their advanced weapons couldn't be maintained without replacement parts. Their troops couldn't be deployed without functioning transport systems. The Empire's sophisticated military machine was paralyzed by the failure of simple, civilian infrastructure. The beauty of Operation Ghost, Walker explained, was its subtlety. Our operatives didn't destroy anything, they just introduced small errors into system programming. Maintenance logs were corrupted. Inventory systems lost track of crucial supplies. Manufacturing quality control parameters were slightly adjusted. The effects cascaded through the Empire's society. Military commanders couldn't trust their supply chains. Civilian populations grew restless as basic services became unreliable. The Empire's economy began to falter as confidence in their systems eroded. This is what truly terrifies you about human warfare, Walker stated, addressing the Council directly. Not our ability to fight, but our understanding that war is more than just combat. It's about undermining the enemy's entire capacity to wage war. The hologram showed the Empire's territory again, but now the red markers were flickering, showing the spreading chaos. Their mighty civilization, built on technology and order, was being undone by subtle manipulation rather than brute force. The Empire's military leaders kept waiting for our big attack, Walker continued. They never understood that it had already happened. By the time they realized what we had done, their civilization was already coming apart at the seams. The council chamber was silent now, the implications sinking in. Humanity hadn't just defeated the Empire's military, they had demonstrated the ability to undermine an entire civilization without firing a shot. We didn't need to destroy their ships, Walker concluded this part of his testimony. We simply made it impossible for them to operate effectively. And we did it without a single major battle. The Admiral's eyes met those of various council members. They now understood that humanity's true power wasn't in their weapons or tactics, it was in their understanding that winning a war didn't always require winning battles. But there was still more to come. The final phase of the war would reveal humanity's most terrifying capability of all. Admiral Walker's expression grew even more serious as he prepared to reveal what many in the council had been dreading to hear. The holographic display shifted to show a single human vessel, small, unremarkable, and seemingly harmless. What I'm about to tell you, Walker began, is why the Empire didn't just sue for peace, they begged for it. And why, to this day, no species has dared to provoke humanity into full-scale war. The vessel in the display was designated Phoenix 1, a research ship that had been supposedly lost during the early days of the war. The Empire had dismissed it as another casualty, but they couldn't have been more wrong. While Operation Ghost was paralyzing the Empire's infrastructure, Phoenix 1 was making a discovery that would change the balance of power in the galaxy forever, Walker continued. Our scientists had been studying the fundamental forces that make faster-than-light travel possible. The council chamber grew deathly quiet. Every species knew that FTL travel was what held galactic civilization together. Without it, interstellar commerce, communication, and warfare would be impossible. We discovered something remarkable, Walker revealed. The fabric of spacetime that allows FTL travel could be manipulated in ways nobody had considered. We found we could create localized disruptions, areas where FTL travel became impossible. The implications hit the council members like a physical blow. Some physically recoiled in their seats. The ability to disable FTL travel in specific regions of space wasn't just a weapon, it was an existential threat to galactic civilization itself. Phoenix 1 tested the technology in an uninhabited system, Walker continued. The test created a bubble of normal space 50 light-years in diameter. Inside that bubble, FTL travel was impossible. Ships in FTL would be forced back to normal space, potentially tearing themselves apart in the process. The hologram demonstrated the effect, showing ships helplessly trapped in normal space, taking years to cross distances that should have taken hours. The Empire's mighty fleets would be reduced to crawling through space at sublight speeds. But that wasn't the most terrifying part, Walker added. We discovered we could make these disruptions permanent. And we could create them anywhere, even from vast distances. The council chamber erupted in shocked whispers. The ability to permanently disable FTL travel in specific regions of space was beyond frightening, it was civilization-ending. A species with this power could isolate entire sectors of the galaxy, trapping billions in systems that would take generations to travel between. When we demonstrated this capability to the Empire's leadership, Walker continued, we only created a small disruption field around one of their minor colony systems. The effect lasted just 24 hours. But the message was clear, we could do this to their entire territory. The Empire, already struggling with their collapsing infrastructure thanks to Operation Ghost, finally understood the true extent of their miscalculation in attacking humanity. They weren't just facing military defeat, they were facing the potential collapse of their entire civilization. We called it the Gordian Protocol, Walker explained. The ability to cut through the complex web of FTL travel that holds galactic civilization together. We never intended to use it fully, its existence alone was enough. The Admiral paused, letting the full weight of this revelation sink in. The Council members now understood why the Empire had surrendered unconditionally, why they had agreed to every human demand without protest. This is why the galaxy fears us, Walker stated plainly. Not because we're the strongest, or the most advanced, or the most numerous. But because we understand something fundamental about warfare that other species don't. The ultimate weapon isn't one that destroys your enemy. It's one that makes their way of life impossible. The holographic display showed the galaxy map again, but now the Council members saw it differently. Every FTL lane, every trade route, every connection between worlds looked suddenly fragile. And humanity held the power to sever any of them at will. But there was still one more revelation to come, the final piece that would explain why humanity's approach to warfare had fundamentally changed how the galaxy viewed conflict. Admiral Walker's eyes swept across the Council chamber, noting how the atmosphere had changed since he began his testimony. Fear was still present, but now mixed with something else, a dawning understanding of humanity's true nature. You might think, he continued, that after demonstrating the Gordian Protocol, we would have used our advantage to expand our territory, to demand concessions from other species. That's what the Empire would have done. But that's not humanity's way. The holographic display shifted to show the peace treaty signing ceremony. The Empire's representatives, proud warriors who had never known defeat, stood alongside human diplomats. But something was odd about the treaty terms, and several Council members leaned forward, their interest piqued. We didn't demand reparations, Walker explained. We didn't take their territory. We didn't even require them to reduce their military strength. Instead, we offered them something they never expected, partnership. The Council chamber buzzed with murmurs. This revelation was, in its way, as shocking as the Gordian Protocol. A species with the power to cripple galactic civilization had chosen cooperation over dominance. You see, Walker continued, humanity's experience with warfare taught us something crucial. The most dangerous moment isn't during the war, it's after. How you treat a defeated enemy determines whether you're facing temporary peace or lasting stability. The holographic display showed the transformation that followed the war. Joint Human-Empire research projects. Combined military exercises. Cultural exchange programs. The Empire's technology and humanity's innovation began creating advances that benefited both species. We understood something that the Empire had forgotten in their centuries of supremacy, Walker explained. True power isn't in the ability to destroy or dominate, it's in the ability to build and create. The Empire had superior technology, but they'd stopped innovating. They'd stopped growing. The display showed the rapid advancement of joint projects. Humanity's creative approach to problem-solving, combined with the Empire's advanced technology, led to breakthroughs that neither species could have achieved alone. But there was another reason for our approach, Walker revealed. One that gets to the heart of why humanity is truly feared in warfare. We knew that if we humiliated the Empire, if we took their territory and broke their spirit, we wouldn't be creating peace, we'd be planting the seeds of the next war. The Council chamber grew silent as Walker's words struck home. Many species present had histories of endless cycles of war and revenge, of conquered peoples rising against their conquerors. Humanity's greatest weapon isn't our ability to fight, Walker continued. It's our understanding of how to end fights. We've learned, through countless conflicts in our own history, that true victory isn't in defeating your enemy, it's in turning them into an ally. The holographic display showed current images of human and Empire worlds. Former enemies now work together, their combined strength greater than either had been alone. Trade flourished. Cultural barriers broke down. What had started as a war of conquest had transformed into a partnership that was reshaping the galaxy. This is what truly terrifies some of you, Walker stated, his gaze meeting those of various council members. Not that we can defeat you in war, but that we understand war so well we know how to make it unnecessary. We know how to turn enemies into allies, how to transform conflict into cooperation." The Admiral paused, letting the implications sink in. Humanity hadn't just won a war, they had fundamentally changed how the Empire, and by extension the galaxy, thought about conflict and resolution. The Gordian Protocol exists, Walker concluded this portion of his testimony, not as a threat, but as a reminder. A reminder that the cost of war is too high, that cooperation is not just moral, but practical. We maintain it not to use it, but to ensure we never have to. But there was one final revelation to come, the ultimate reason why humanity's approach to warfare had made them both the most feared and most sought-after allies in the galaxy. Admiral Walker straightened his uniform as he prepared to deliver the final part of his testimony. The council chamber, once filled with skepticism and superiority toward humanity, now held a mixture of fear, respect, and curiosity. "You've heard about our tactical innovations, our Project Mirror, Operation Ghost, and the Gordian Protocol," Walker began. "You've learned how we turned the Empire from an enemy into an ally. But there's one final truth you need to understand about humanity and war." The holographic display showed Earth, humanity's homeworld. But instead of showing its current state, it displayed Earth's history, countless wars, conflicts, and destructions, followed by rebuilding, innovation, and progress. "Throughout our history," Walker continued, "humanity has been called many things: violent, aggressive, unpredictable. But our true defining characteristic isn't our capacity for war, it's our capacity for change." The display shifted through various human conflicts, showing how each war changed how the next was fought. From spears to swords, from muskets to missiles, from terrestrial battles to space warfare, humanity constantly evolved. Every species in this council developed space travel before they developed nuclear weapons, Walker noted. Every species here achieved unity before they achieved mass destruction. But humans? We split the atom before we reached the moon. We had weapons that could destroy our civilization before we had the means to leave our planet. The council members shifted uncomfortably. This inverted development path was considered impossible by most xenosociologists. A species simply shouldn't be able to survive developing planet-killing weapons before achieving unity. But that's exactly why we're so adaptable in warfare, Walker explained. We've spent our entire history living on the edge of extinction by our own hands. We've had to learn not just how to wage war, but how to prevent it, how to survive it, how to grow from it. The hologram showed the current state of human space, a thriving civilization that had turned its warlike nature into a force for innovation and progress. Their partnership with the former Crimson Empire had created unprecedented prosperity for both species. "The true reason you fear us isn't our weapons, our tactics, or even the Gordian Protocol," Walker revealed. "It's that we represent something you never thought possible, a species that turned its greatest weakness into its greatest strength." The display showed various human achievements since joining the galactic community, diplomatic resolutions to ancient conflicts, technological breakthroughs in peaceful applications, new methods of cooperation between traditionally hostile species. "We don't just understand war," Walker continued, his voice firm. "We understand peace. We understand that they're two sides of the same coin, that the skills that make us dangerous in conflict make us valuable in cooperation. We know how to fight because we know why not to." The Admiral paused, looking at each council member in turn. "You fear us because we master any form of warfare we encounter. But you need us because we also master any form of peace we discover." The holographic display showed the galaxy as it now stood, more stable, more prosperous, more united than ever before. Human influence had spread not through conquest, but through their unique ability to bridge gaps between species, to find solutions where others saw only conflict. "The Empire learned what you all now know," Walker concluded. "Humanity isn't dangerous because we're the best at fighting wars. We're dangerous because we understand war so well that we know 1,000 ways to prevent it. We don't just know how to win conflicts, we know how to make them obsolete. As Admiral Walker finished his testimony, the council chamber remained silent. They had expected to learn about humanity's military capabilities. Instead, they had received a lesson about the true nature of power in the galaxy. So yes, Walker said, his final words echoing through the chamber, fear humanity's capacity for war. But understand that this same capacity makes us the strongest advocates for peace. Because we, more than any species in the galaxy, know exactly what war costs, and exactly why it should be the last resort, not the first response. The council session ended, but its implications would echo through the galaxy for generations to come. Humanity had revealed itself not just as the most feared species in war, but as the most valuable architects of peace.